here we are, beautiful morning in the Crossfire, and just make a comment here about something. I bought some stuff to sort of dress this car up a bit. Now, this is not going to be to everyone's taste again, so I accept that. First of all, that little chrome piece was not there when I bought the car. So it's there, of course. It's a nice accent. It's really lovely, and so I've bought this this piece that fits there. I think that just makes the this was a solid black panel really, and now it's got a chrome accent which matches that. But at the same time, I bought a few other dress-up bits. Let's have a look at them. Right. Well. These are chrome covers that go over these, whatever they're called, louvres or whatever. So they were a kind of, well, they were the same as that before. They were sort of painted silver, and now they're chrome. So that's on both sides. And then oil, and also I did this. These 3 chrome covers that go over the 3 slats here and the uprights, so that gives the grille a solid chrome effect rather than some little dark areas with painted edges. There again, it's a matter of opinion. I like them. There are other accent bits you can get as well. They're chrome covers that go on the door mirrors, and chrome covers that go on the door handles, and also chrome inserts on the inside of the handle, so that when you don't scratch the paintwork. But I think that's over the top now. Oh, and also the frame, that painted frame to the windscreen, there's a chrome cover goes over that as well. I think all of that stuff is a bit too garish. Even the grille possibly is a bit too far, but I think the inside bit and those little louvers are just right. The grille I'm 80% happy with. Slightly concerned it's a bit too garish, but anyway, that's the next step that I did with the Crossfire. Right, so what do? You just see something coming out of there? It's got dye in it, has it?
It has got dye in it, yeah. It has lost quite a bit of pressure.
It has?
Yeah.
Ah, right. So it's got a leak?
It's got a leak.
Yeah, right.
I'm suspecting it's there.
Yeah.
Because I can't see anything else.
Right.
And there was a big dark patch, and it has... There's little green bits there, so... Yeah. That's a new condenser.
Right. What sort of price are they, any idea? One like that?
70, 80 quid plus that.
Yeah.
They're not horrific.
No, that's, yeah. So can you fit one then?
Yeah, I'll have to
please?
get one.
I said please as well, yeah.
You did,
nice,
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice.
Good, isn't it? Yeah.
Manager's a dying thing nowadays.
No, we've got to keep it going, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
It's not just me, is it? It's other people as well, isn't it? Don't say it's just me.
So, put it all back and wait. I'll squeeze into this car. Right, so that was the problem. It needs a new condenser. And so, whoops. Oh, Alan Jackson. So there we go. This is the problem, isn't it? With cars. You buy another car, and actually, it's a good deal because you got a nice car at a nice price, but you got to maintain it. And I've had a really exorbitant tax bill. This costs £540 to tax a year. When you think, actually, the old Dodge is free, but this one is £540 a year to tax already, insurance, and then now a condenser, and so it goes on. I mean, these little things that I bought, all these trims, they're indulgences, so I don't count those, but the things that you have to do. I mean, I know I could drive around on this without aircon. That's not also a necessity. Cars never used to have aircon. But as this car has it, and it would be good to have it going. So we'll have a new condenser fitted, and hopefully the car will then work. Another thing I just mentioned while I'm sitting in here is that that little round thing that was stuck on there when I bought it, I managed to get it off without any residue of glue or anything. It was actually stuck on with a pad, which is what I suspected, but I wasn't certain how it was stuck on. Somebody might have put some silicone or glue on it, but I gradually, just gently kept prising it up, very slowly, and eventually I got it all off. I cleaned it off a bit with, well, I didn't want to use strong solvent or anything, because there was a residue of adhesive on there, but I just used white spirit actually, and then I washed that off. And it seems to be okay. You can see in the light, that's what attracted me to talk about it. You can see in the light that there's not really any mark of where it was. So that was a good result as well, as far as that's concerned. Okay, on to the next problem. Right, well, cement mixers arrived. Filling a hole. Dog.
Skip it up.
Right, well, I started to think about getting the Dodge ready, so I've had a look at this, and Andy, so far, the electrician, hasn't turned up, and I want to really fit this. So this, I've had a look at it, and this switch here, which switches the different speeds for the fan, this is definitely the same as the one that's in there. Now, when it arrived, it actually had this knob on it, and this is the knob that was down here. Let's put that there. Right, this knob, which says fan control, this was here. So, but they actually just unscrew, so that's handy. So all I've got to do is I took this one, unscrewed it, and put the old one on. So that's okay. The only problem is that when Andy was looking at this, he'd disconnected the wire from here. So I'm not too certain which wire goes. There's a number of wires. I'm not certain which wire goes back on here. So either Andy's got to come along to put the right wire on, or I've got to phone him and ask him if he'll do it. Tell me. So I'd like to fit that, because and that's all done. Then it's a question of cleaning the car, checking the tires. I mean, the car had a service a couple of months ago, and it hasn't been out anywhere. So it's just a question of checking all the fluid levels and tire pressures and one thing and another, and topping up, make sure the washers are topped up and so on. And I'm going to take it out for a bit of a drive, give it a bit of a run, do 20 or 30 miles in it maybe, just make sure everything's alright before we do the London to Brighton run, which is going to be in about 3 weeks, I think. So this car will be getting some use then. And the other thing I've sort of given up on is keeping them clean until I actually use them. I mean, you can see the dust on here. This is impossible now. We've got the dust from the fields, and obviously lots and lots of dust now coming off of the project. Every car that I've got here is just dusty. They look terrible. But covering them, I mean, I have got some car covers actually, but the trouble with them is I get condensation in them. I've found as well that putting covers on attracts insects a bit sometimes, because I actually had a wasp nest underneath one of the covers, so I don't, I tend to leave them open. The air gets to them now, and they've kept over the years. I mean, this car's been sitting here in this place since 2004, when it was painted, so it's actually quite good. It keeps dry, and the air gets to it a lot. You don't get condensation problems. Well, this is my Stiga mower, and it's sitting here at the moment because it's gone wrong. I've got a problem with it, and I'm waiting for a guy to come. I'll just try it out now. Well, actually, either the battery's flat or low, or I thought the starter motor had gone. I'm not too sure. I might try putting it on charge tomorrow, or jump starting it. So we'll see. But it was working fine, and then suddenly that noise came on when I wanted to start it. And I thought it sounds like the starter motor not engaging. But when I spoke to the mechanic on the phone, he said it could be the battery was flat, and I don't really understand that because it was working fine before. But then maybe he's right, I don't know. Anyway, he hasn't been yet. So it's another thing that needs fixing. Well, hang on. I was just walking by and I spotted my Crossfire, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll try the exhaust, what happens when you start it up. So we'll do this. disappointment. I don't know whether that came out alright on the video. These cameras don't always reproduce sound that good, but it sounds pretty nice to me. And of course we've got the chrome accents that I put on. I keep looking at them and trying to think they look really good. I guess I like that. I mean, this I'm not 100% certain, but it looks nice. Okay. That's chrome. Well, I've been cleaning the scooter, but chap's here to do the aircon.
Hopefully I'll just give it a little bit of heat. Problem is the old steel and aluminium.
Yeah.
mix.
Oh, it's... Are they always a problem then?
They either come undone first time or
they don't.
Or they don't.
Yeah.
That is the problem is with one being aluminium and one being steel.
Yeah. So you've got to take the radiator out as well?
No, I'll leave the radiator in.
Oh, I see.
And that will slide up.
Oh, right, okay.
Out of the way.
It seems remarkably clean, this car. I don't know, it's my imagination.
It is very clean.
You know.
There's not even any dirt round.
No, that's right. It's almost as good as a new car, really. Apart from the aircon.
It will be as good as a new car. In about an hour's time.
Yeah. A nice shiny, that's lovely.
Shiny new one.
Yeah.
Here we go, Chris. The moment of truth.
That tells you whether or not it's leaking or anything.
Quick buying.
Pressure. No, I mean the pressure, when it holds pressure, that will tell you then.
Yeah, it's holding pressure.
Yeah. So it should be alright.
Yeah.
Cool, bloody hell. Freezing in here. It is cold in here, by the way. Right, well, I've had this Crossfire now for about two and a half weeks or something. And in that time I've bought new tyres on the back, and I've put the chrome accents on there. I've put the chrome grille on there. And of course, most importantly maybe, I've had the aircon fixed. And that's really working well, the aircon. And I put that chrome accent on there. And I got rid of that disc that was on the top, on the dash. That was good. So, I'm running out of things to do with this car now, to put it right. There's very little to put right. I mean, there's that a bit of a couple of bubbles on the spoiler at the back, which I'll have to get done. What I'm going to try and do now is to find out. Well, I do know where. I've got to find the place where Billy from Bennex, who used to work on my cars then, where he's gone to. He's gone to another body shop, and I'm going to go there and have a word with them. See if he can do my cars there, as he's used to doing them for me. So I'll have that done, and I don't think there's much else to do on this car, apart from the little clunking noise that I hear when I go over really bad bumps. And I have a suspicion it's the exhaust banging on the floor, so I'm going to get somebody to have a look at that. It needs to go up on a ramp. And also, the handbrake needs adjusting. So I guess what it really requires is a service, as I haven't had it serviced in my ownership. So I think that's what I'll do next. And another thing I need to do is to sort this 2CV out, because let's start it up. Choke. Right, well, the little sound that I hear is like an additional noise. Like a little knocking noise. That's going to have to be investigated. Well, seem to have lots of things to sort out, even though I'm not even trying. I'm just taking it easy. This car's got some sort of noise that I've yet got to sort out. Sounds like a gasket blowing, but I'm not too certain. Another thing with this thing is that it happened the other day. I take it out, go for maybe 4 or 5 miles, stop, go in a shop or something, come out, it won't start. Leave it for 10 or 15 minutes, and then it starts. Don't know what the problem is there. I've had it before, never really got to the bottom of that one. This one is a real annoying thing because well, actually I can't even find it now. Here we are, just here. Don't know if the camera's picking that up. Somebody's opened a door, just scratched the, gouged into the plastic there. That's annoying. And then of course somebody just touched the car here and just marked the paint there. Actually it's gouged in a bit, so that's another little bodywork job. But I have discovered where Billy's gone, so I'm going to go up there possibly tomorrow and speak to them and see if they'll take this, book it in, and get it done. And my ATV is a problem as well. It started yesterday. I haven't tried it yet today, but we'll see. What happens is it starts fine, goes for about 15-30 seconds, a minute maybe, or maybe a couple of minutes, it depends, and then it just dies. like there's no petrol. I mean, there is petrol in it. Let's just double check. Yep, yeah, you can see it just there. It's not a problem with fuel. So let's see if it starts. Right, so it's going fine now. This sounds normal. And I'll let it run for a bit. Well, it's been going for about a minute, so I think I'll take the trailer up, put it up here. I still haven't got my Stiga mower working yet. I've got the leads out. I'm going to try and jump start it. This is going okay. I'm going to take this ATV down now and put the rake that I bought for it on the back. Well, it's playing up. Here we go. There we go. Stopped. No, it's just stopped dead. Now, see, it won't start. No. Hopeless. See, it runs for a couple of minutes and that's it. Right. What can it be? Seems like it's fuel to me. Fuel blockage of some sort? Not even sure if there's a fuel filter in here. There must be. Right, well, that's something we'll have to have a look at tomorrow. Right, well, I've just given the Amy a little bit of a clean, got the dust off it. Look, it looks really nice now. Just shows you. All that dust makes it look like an old car. No, it looks beautiful. So I think I'm going to go and get some fuel. Right, well, a nice clean car. I haven't forgotten about my little Amy. It's lovely. I've been driving in the Avantime about half an hour ago, and I had all the windows down. It was absolutely fantastic. Actually, I had the windows down and the roof open and the aircon on as well. So it was pretty cool. This car, of course, has no roof to open. No aircon. It's got these little vents here in the front that let air in. They're not bad. Because obviously we don't have opening quarter lights anymore on these cars. I mean the early Amy had sliding front windows like the back of these, like the Mini used to have. So anyway, I'm going to get some petrol in this now. You fill this thing up, it costs about £12. We'll see. Such a change going into these cars after the modern ones. Driving the Avantime is so smooth, so slow, smooth. Everything's just easy. This car's really comfortable. I mean, it's so basic, but really, really comfortable. So with this car, and like the 2CV, you tend to drive it between third and second. So that down in the middle ratio here, two ratios, that's third and back up to second. So you're flipping back and forth. I mean, I'm in third at the moment. And it's quite a high gear really. Certainly for the town it's okay. Gives you good response, good pickup. If I put it into top, which I can do, but it's kind of like, it's like an overdrive. I mean really it's 30 miles an hour is a bit slow for this top gear, so it's better to be in third if you really want to pull away a bit. Pity he didn't let me go, but still. Right. Okay. So it's dying. So sorry. Where's? You can't get the throttle cable out.
This one here is completely utterly seized into place, done up so tight, and they've put a cheap screw back in whoever touched it last. And as soon as you touch it, it just wants to bend. So underneath there's where the cable's joined to be able to release it, to be able to take this whole lot out.
So there's no fuel filter.
No, direct fuel straight in.
Yeah. It seems that's the most likely thing.
Filter for it, but it's got an actual one for your quad. It's just one you can attach midway on your fuel pipe.
Yeah. It seems the most likely thing, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah. Especially as it hasn't got a filter, so it's going to the car.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, all the dust and dirt around when we filled up fuel, who knows what got in it. I mean, it can't be. The only other thing I was thinking was the actual line that comes from the fuel tank.
Which is here. I'll clean that at the same time as the car.
You know, whether it was actually just not coming out of the tank properly. Maybe it's got something in the tank, not the carburetor. You know what I mean?
It's coming out there fine.
Yeah. Unless it's that pipe.
If it's that pipe, then it's probably pushed it into the point of where it goes into the car.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be in the car, it's got to be at the point, yeah.
It could be in the car.
Yeah. Can that pipe come out altogether? That is, I mean, you check that, and you can check the inlet. I don't know, well, you've seen the symptoms, so it's just exactly the same as what I've had. I can't think of what else it can be.
I reckon it's inside the car, the jet's blocked.
I can't think of what else it would be. It wouldn't be the coil, would it? It wouldn't be... Funny, it's about the first time... It's done well because it's about the first time that I've had a problem like this in the 25 years I've owned it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
It's probably due a clean out in the
yeah,
car.
it's probably doing well. I mean, if you look at all the shit everywhere, I mean, it's just...
I've actually cleaned that.
Hey?
I've actually cleaned where I can get to this already. That was filthy. That was all black.
Yeah. Alright.
Get as much off as I could before I took it off so less could fall in.
Yeah.
I will have to go and get some power cleaner.
Those are the broken cogs. You know, it's exactly what it sounded like to me that a cog broke.
They were just rattling inside the engine.
Yeah, yeah. I said it to the guy and he said, oh, battery. I said, no.
So that top section there comes off and it goes underneath that spring, and when it spins it gives it the pressure to come up to engage.
Right. So they got that in stock?
Yeah. The standard plastic ones I got in stock. Just need to take it with me just to measure them up.
Okay. Then we got that going.
Yeah.
Good. Well done. Right. Well, we've got about 3 days now till the London to Brighton classic car run, and this car is going. But 3 months ago, when we had 3 months to go, the electrician was coming to finish off the wiring and finish the switch, and the wiring had been altered, but now 3 days and I've never seen him, so Tom and I are going to have to sort it out ourselves because... Right, choke out there, ignition on. Right, hot in here. Whew. This car is just filthy, isn't it? But it will just look lovely when I've just washed all this dirt off it. So we're going to see if we can fix this switch. This is the switch. That one. Right. There's the switch. Look, that's the new one. It is the same as the old one, from what I had a look at it. Now that just unscrews. So that's the proper one, all right?
Yeah.
That's the one that I took off. So
you want that one back on?
yeah. So obviously, yeah. So what we've got to do is obviously unscrew that.
Unscrew that one.
Unscrew that one.
And
Push
that
it through.
clamps
Tight.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be the same on there. So if you have a look, see what you think about the wiring. Right. I mean, there should be one live wire under there, I would have thought. It just goes on the end.
Which one was that? That's the old one.
Yeah. You see, it's the same, isn't it? No, hang on, let me have a look. Mind your head. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember what we did with that.
Did he put that one on temporary so it worked?
No. And yes, maybe that was it. I don't remember now. I don't think he did.
So we try it and see what it does with the engine running.
Is it what? Yeah.
It's wired on.
Yeah. Right. Turn that on. Start it up again. Right. You gonna do it?
Yeah. Oh.
Fan, there, you hear it down there. Tap it.
Yeah. On, off. On. Off.
In that case, we'll just leave it. I think I'll just leave it.
There's no rush now, is there?
No. Is it off now?
Yeah.
Switch it back on, just see. It definitely works. So basically,
Feel it.
so it's just one speed. If we check the tyre pressures, check.
Level.
Yeah, there's nothing there's nothing we're going to find out on Friday that's wrong with it, is there? Really, nothing that we can do anyway.
No.
It's just a question of checking the tyre pressures. Might as well do it on Friday. Wash it.
Your battery's been charged.
Right. Well, one problem always leads to another. We got the ATV going today, and then suddenly the battery packed up. It wouldn't start at all, and we left it running for. Well, I had it running for nearly an hour, and it put no charge into it at all. So we've taken the battery out. Tom's gone off to buy a new battery quickly so we can solve that problem. And in the process of taking the seat off, which you have to do to get at the battery, all this, which is rusty and hadn't been opened for a long time, all fell apart. This bit here came undone. This came out, all in one go. The little spring fell on the floor, and we couldn't quite figure out how it went together, so I had to think about that for a few minutes. And then we discovered, well, I discovered how that went, so I put that back. I've lubricated it up. Then the screw wouldn't go back because I found that somebody... Now I've had this ATV for 25 years, but before I had it, somebody had... There was a broken screw underneath here, and they fitted a different screw. This must have happened in the last 20... Well, before 25 years ago. So, anyway, and this kept coming undone. This little metal came out of the retaining lip. But I've managed to put it all back now. So that's now working. I'm just waiting for Tom to come back with a new battery, and hopefully that will mean that this is working and I can get on with some jobs that I'm using it for. Well, the other thing I did was I went up to the place where Billy was working and spoke to the guys about this. This is really annoying. The sun has drawn out the moisture, I guess, and we've got all these big bubbles just here on the spoiler. There's a little tiny one over here, but basically these. So there's no rust on this spoiler. When you lift it up, it's all sound. Just these bits here, and I guess this has been painted before, and whether this is aluminium, and it hasn't been painted correctly, or I used the right primer or whatever, I don't know. Anyway, that's going to be done. And at the same time, they're going to do this little spot here, there is, and a few bits of bubbling coming up just on the edge of that wheel arch there. So they're going to do that wheel arch and that for me. And that, I think, is getting that car almost, well, done, I think. 2 new tyres, aircon's working. When that little bit of bodywork's done, I'm not certain there's anything else needs doing on it now. Everything else seems to be A-OK. But once I've done that, then we'll get onto the Mercedes and get this bit done. Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? I can't think of anything on this car that needed doing now. It's quite good, isn't it? Everything's working inside. I'm sure it's all working inside. Ah, I know what's happening. There's an annoying creaking noise in here. Well, no, this is not the other thing where I think the exhaust is banging on the floor occasionally. There's a creaking noise as you're driving on this car. And I don't know what it is. It seems to be coming from this area. Whether it's underneath this, I don't know. Or whether it's the seats. I've got the seats high up. I think what I'll do is I'll have to drop the seats back down again and see whether they're rubbing. But you don't hear it too much if you've got the radio on, but turn the radio off and it's just sort of a rubbing, a creaking noise. But other than that, I think we're okay with this car now. And the other thing I did today was, of course, I booked the Avantime in for an MOT and a service at Anglian Vehicle Services. I've done that now, and that's being done next Tuesday. And I booked my wife's XC60 in for a MOT and service. And that's happening in another week, I think. So there's 2 cars being sorted. They got to be MOT'd this month. And then the next thing is still that 2CV. And I think I'll speak to the 2CV expert and see whether he wants to have a look at it. Right, well, that was okay. So I've just spoken to my friend, who is the guy that actually rebuilt that 2CV. He is a 2CV expert, if you like, and I think he is, because that's about all he does, 2CVs. Been doing them for years. And he's going to come up tomorrow morning and have a look at that and see what the noise is that I'm hearing. There's no good me guessing. I mean, Tom and me have fixed the lawnmower, and hopefully we're fixing the ATV, and we've kind of compromised on the Dodge because there's no electrician that wants to sort that one out for me. But at the moment, So I'm going to have to drive that one to Brighton as it is. But hopefully I can get the 2CV fixed and I'll be pleased about that. So things are looking up and looking down at the same time. No, looking down and then looking up. That's better. Right, a new battery. Actually, that wasn't bad, £45. I thought it could be anything, like £180, you know. And probably, if you'd have got it from Honda, that's probably the price it would have been.
Yeah, a bit more.
Honda are notoriously bad for their prices for spares. But this ATV, every time it needs spares, I just tell it to get on with it. Oh, you put that inside it?
Yeah. Fill the 6 cells using the acid bottle.
Going down? Why is it that we've fixed so many things today and they've also gone wrong again? Different.
I think it's because you're using them.
Well, that's possible, yeah. Right, let's start it. What am I doing here? Right, so it's not the battery. That must be the actual solenoid, and that's probably either seized, jammed, or it needs a new one. You want me to start it now?
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not going to go. Well, I've turned it off. Right, well, yeah, another problem. Where are we? Oh, here we are. Right, that's a sort of double core, twin core cable, and there's a connector here that was on the top of it, and it was connected to there. And I don't know how, but obviously it must have been me. I must have cut this wire and pulled it out. So it was soldered in there, one of these double core wires, and the other one was fixed in down the center. And the little plastic screw bit that goes in there is broken. So I'm going to take this along to a electric bike shop this morning to get this one fixed, because that is the connector that tells the controller that the brake is on. So when you put the brake on, it automatically cuts the power from the motor, so that you're not putting power in the driving the wheel while you're braking. But of course, now that is pulled out, the controller thinks the brakes are on all the time, so the bike won't work. Interesting way to disable one of these bikes, just cut one of these cables. But anyway, so I've now got to get that fixed. We may have to buy a new lever with the cable already attached and then rewire it to the other end. Not too certain, but he wants to have a look at it and then he'll decide what to do, this guy. So that's what we're going to do with that one this morning. And as far as the ATV is concerned, we've now decided, after some conversations with some ATV people, that the most likely problem now we've got is the bushes have gone on the starter motor. So Tom is going in this morning on his way in to get some new bushes, and we're hoping to fit these this morning and see if that works. So we bought a new battery, which is probably not needed, but we've left the new one in anyway. But hopefully we'll get this one going today. So it's been a couple of days where we've been dealing with all these little minor vehicles and bicycles. So that will pull out backwards, will it?
That goes in.
Yeah, backwards, yeah.
But this here's got all the cogs attached
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
actual this side of it.
Yeah.
When I release them, it'll give that a chance to be able to lift up and then come out.
Right.
So just stuck it all together.
Yeah.
There's the other one. The bearings are gone as well.
The what?
The bearings are gone inside here. That's your bearing.
Maybe it's the bearings that are gone rather than the bushes.
Yeah.
Which is basically the same sort of problem that we've just had with the other one.
Yeah. It's rusty, if you like, but
Sorry?
that's all rust inside the box. Get some cloth. One.
So that's that part of
The
it.
outer part.
That's the outer. Is there any bearings at all?
Yeah, one just fell down there, one.
Blimey, they could be anywhere, couldn't they?
Yeah, they'll be in here somewhere.
Yeah.
There's another one. Another one. But these cogs will release themselves once I get this bit off.
Right, a 2CV pickup. Rescue. 2CV rescue. It's 2CV rescue. Hi, how are you?
Getting there, I think.
Hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, hi. See if I can get it started and you'll hear the noise that I'm talking about. Oops. That's it. Can you hear that noise?
Yeah.
It's like a secondary knocking.
You've got flowing clamp on that side, and I'll check the manifold on this side.
How long you had this now?
Oh, blimey.
'Cause it's,
Well over 20 years.
I was going to say it just needs cleaning, really.
It's due for, it needs jolly good clean, and it's due for, after I come back from France, then
Yeah.
I get a chance to have a crack at some of my own stuff, because I was able to sort of plan my year this year. I've got an overrun on a car that I've been putting back on the road for a chap.
Right, so that's...
Let's jump on. Just in case it gets chilly.
Yeah. My nut thing on the top, I've got the little pieces taped to the... Yeah, the end. I don't know whether he's going to use it, but... God, that was
That was the original.
that was all
bushes.
inside.
Yeah.
That's all the bushes.
Yeah. And that there's now on the verge.
Oh yeah.
And the new one sits about there.
God, yeah. Look at that. Wow.
That one comes out here and that one comes out there, and there isn't much gap in between the two from the ends touching. That's how much it's gone.
So the starter motor was burnt out almost, the bushes. The bearings are crapped and God knows where the bearings are gone.
Yep.
Right, so that's the starter motor rebuilt with new bushes in it. Brushes, and they've were all disintegrated. We need a new gasket. We are trying to get a new cover, which we're going to see if we can get tomorrow, because this one is damaged here and somebody in the past had used some silicone to kind of hold it down, and that's been the cause of the problem, I think, because water's got into the engine here, and it's rusted the bearings, which have broken up, and we've now got bearings gone into the engine, which we're trying to see if we can get out by draining the oil through it and flush it a few times. But we've noticed before we had water in the engine, so that's where the water's come in. So the brushes were disintegrated, the bearings disintegrated or broken. So we can't get a gasket at the moment, so we'll have to use a paper, cut one, gasket paper. We're going to see if we can get some bearings. We're going to see if we can get one of these tomorrow, second-hand one. Yeah. Right, you got bearings.
Yes. One nice new bearing. The only downside was...
Oh, there's a downside, is there?
£10 minimum spend. And
Yeah.
that's £4 tank.
Oh.
So
You bought an ice cream.
I added that onto it. Always coming
Oh,
out
yeah, good. Good, I want that. That's my other can is over there. Good. That's definitely the right one, eh?
Yeah, they've measured it all and lined them all up, and there's nothing to do. Gasket paper and liquid gasket. With a
Oh,
double
good.
seal on it.
So that's my receipt, is
That's
it?
the one for the bearing.
And I owe you that
the-
money, do I?
Yeah, and this one as well.
Right, there's the bearings. Don't lose them. So, we're now all set apart from
Okay,
the case. But we could use that one if we had to.
if we had to, yes.
Right. So, everything's back. The starter motor's been rebuilt with new bushes, brushes, and there's new bearings in there. It's all sealed up, it's all cleaned,
Been flushed through with oil.
flushed through with oil, everything's fine. But when we turn this on, try and start it, all we get is the solenoid clicking. And that is what we had when we then bought a new battery, repaired all that lot, and we haven't resolved anything. So we're going to try jump starting just to make sure the battery's not flat. But it's a new battery, but maybe it drained. And then I don't know what we're going to do. I think I may leave the country now because I'm fed up with it. I really can't think what it is. Unless it all comes down to that solenoid. No. No. Solenoid. We're going to have to replace that. Did they say they had a solenoid there?
I think they did, but I'll give them a call.
Right. Well, what a few days. And people say, "Oh, you're so lucky, Chris. You've got all those cars and scooter and everything." And I say, yeah, but all I do is try and keep them all in a running condition, taxed, MOT'd, and serviced, etc. And in the last couple of days, added to that, I've got a problem with one of my electric bikes. The starter motor busted on the one of my sit-down mowers. We've had all this starter motor problem with the ATV, which is still not resolved because we now think, well, the bearings were disintegrated. Had disintegrated. The brushes had been they disintegrated as well, but the solenoid is now not working. It's busted. So we hopefully, if we can find another one, which is not that easy apparently, we can find that, we might be able to get the whole system running again. At the moment I'm starting the ATV with the kickstart, which is not that easy sometimes, but anyway, at least I can use the ATV. In fact, the Crossfire is booked in a couple of weeks' time to have the spoiler repaired. Well, it's not really repaired, it's the paint that's the problem. The paint's just bubbling in a few places. And a little bit of work on one of the rear wheel arches. The Renault Avantime is going in for a service and an MOT, plus my wife's car, her Volvo, is going in for an MOT. My scooter is got to have an MOT this month, or next month rather, but I got a feeling that because it's a historic vehicle, it doesn't really have to have one, and I don't really see why I should bother if I can get away with it, because, or if I don't get away with it, but it doesn't need it because it's not being used much. And but anyway, we'll have to sort that one out. It's just another thing. Yeah, so having all these cars is great. Oh, and the Mercedes has got to have some work done on it, on the where somebody hit it. Yeah, it's great. Oh yeah, and the 2CV. So I had my friend come up. He's the 2CV guy. He's going to come back in a couple of weeks, and he's going to sort out the ATV. Sort out the 2CV because I think it's got some leaks on the manifold, exhaust manifold, and also he's going to take the engine out of that old Diane, the Citroen Diane that I've got, and rebuild it using some improved parts from France. There are a number of different options that I could have with that car to tune up the engine a bit, from just giving it a bit more torque and a bit more sort of power, which is what I think I'm going to go for. Or you can go to different extremes, and the wildest extreme is basically making it into almost a supercar. But I'm not going down that route. I'm just going to try and have that engine rebuilt from the old Diane, make it a bit more powerful than the original 2CV engine, and replace the 2CV engine with this one. I'll keep the original 2CV engine, but I'll put in the improved engine, I think, so that the car that is just a bit better for motorway driving. bit more torque. You don't have to change down quite so much. So that's the situation. So all in all, it's been a busy time, and I think this I better end this here, because this is a marathon, but a marathon of all the problems that I have with cars. Dogs are okay.